Only 49 problems? Trust me, we had to cut it off somewhere. These aren't scandals or breaking news headlines. They're the low-key weird things baked right into everyday American life. The kind of stuff that locals don't even blink at, but should. If you've ever wondered how a country can be obsessed with freedom but terrified of public bathroom privacy, you're in the right place. Let's talk about the quiet chaos. 1. Portion sizes in American restaurants are huge. You might think you're ordering lunch for one, but what shows up could feed a family of 4 and their dog. These monstrous meals aren't just about generosity. They reflect a cultural obsession with more is better. The result? A national epidemic of food waste and expanding waistlines. The average American tosses nearly a pound of food daily, and a lot of that starts with supersized entrees. What's worse, most people feel guilty not finishing their plate, even if it means stuffing themselves to food coma levels. It's like every meal is a competitive eating contest, except no one wins, except maybe the cardiologists. 2. Housing prices in the US are skyrocketing while wages seem to be on an extended coffee break. For younger Americans, buying a home has become the adult version of chasing unicorns. Magical, mythical, and wildly out of reach. Many are stuck in an eternal rent cycle or living in their parents' basements where avocado toast isn't the budget problem. It's the $600,000 two-bedroom fixer-upper. And don't even think about moving to a cheap area. Remote work turned those into bidding war battlegrounds too. The American dream of owning a house? These days, it's more like the American delusion. 3. Let's talk about college textbooks, the silent financial vampires of higher education. In the US, it's perfectly normal for students to drop $1,000 a semester just to access knowledge. Some books cost more than the class itself. Even worse, the content rarely changes. Maybe a different font or a new foreword pretending to justify the $200 price tag. And just when you think you'll sell it back, surprise! The professor switches to a new updated edition. If education is power, textbook pricing is academic extortion. Welcome to college, where your wallet gets educated too. 4. Political polarization in the US isn't just red versus blue. It's more like a dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinner that never ends. People are unfriending family over Facebook arguments and screaming on cable news like it's a national sport. Rational debate? That left the building sometime around 2008. Now, it's all about who can own the other side with a tweet or a snarky meme. It's less about policy and more about tribal loyalty. Honestly, you have better odds of uniting cat and dog lovers than getting Americans to agree on basic facts. 5. Plastic usage in America is less of a problem and more of a plastic apocalypse. The US tosses out over 42 million metric tons of plastic each year, making it the world champion of plastic waste. Congratulations. Despite the whole reduce, reuse, recycle mantra, most plastic ends up in landfills or the ocean, where turtles mistake it for lunch. And don't get too smug about those blue recycling bins. Turns out, only a small percentage of that stuff actually gets recycled. The rest? It's probably headed to a beach near you. 6. Now let's unravel the weird roller coaster that is US tipping culture. In most parts of the world, tipping is a kind gesture. In America, it's a survival mechanism. Servers rely on tips to make a living because employers legally pay them less than minimum wage, sometimes as low as $2 to $13 an hour. And yet, tipping isn't straightforward. Too little, and you're a monster. Too much, and you're broke. Tourists are baffled, Americans are stressed, and restaurant owners, well, they're conveniently silent. It's like playing a social game of Minesweeper every time you eat out. 7. The US has a long, complicated, and still very present problem with systemic racism. From housing policies and school funding to healthcare and law enforcement, the impacts are baked into the nation's institutions like a poorly thought-out casserole that no one wants to admit tastes awful. And while some folks pretend racism ended with the Civil Rights Act, others are still trying to get a loan without being randomly flagged. It's a mess wrapped in history and denial, and solving it isn't as easy as saying, we're all equal now. Spoiler, we're not. 8. In many American workplaces, talking about salary is as taboo as discussing religion at Thanksgiving. But here's the twist. Keeping wages secret mostly benefits employers, not employees. When no one talks about pay, wage gaps go unchecked and raises stay stingy. Transparency is a powerful tool, yet it's treated like a corporate curse word. Imagine if everyone at work suddenly shared what they made. HR departments would collectively faint. But it might just be the chaos needed to make things fair. 9. American football. The sport where they stop the clock more often than your grandma stops to chat at the grocery store. For outsiders, it's an enigma wrapped in shoulder pads and commercial breaks. Why do players huddle after every play? Why does the game last 3 hours for 60 minutes of action? And why is it called football when they barely use their feet? Honestly, it's like watching a highly strategic nap interrupted by occasional sprints and dramatic falls. But hey, at least the snacks are good. 10. Want to buy something online in the US? Better pack a lunch. You'll need it while navigating the endless checkout traps. Free shipping turns into a $12 handling fee. Delivery dates shift like desert mirages. And don't forget the tax surprises at the end. It's like playing a game of how many clicks until I regret this. And just when you think it's all over, your package ends up with a neighbor 3 blocks away. American e-commerce, convenience, with a side of chaos. 11. Believe it or not, there are entire communities in the US where getting fresh fruit is harder than finding a charging cable that actually works. These places are called food deserts. And no, they're not scenic spots in Arizona. They're typically low-income urban or rural areas where grocery stores are miles away, and the nearest options are gas stations or fast food joints. Imagine living in a neighborhood where a bag of chips is easier to find than an apple. It's not just inconvenient, it's a public health disaster in disguise. And the kicker? These communities often pay more for lower quality food. That's not just irony, it's baked-in inequality. 12. Despite what the do not call list promised, telemarketers in the US are still alive and auto-dialing. Somehow, someone's always trying to extend your car's warranty, even if you don't own a car. And don't forget robocalls. Those cheerful, slightly robotic voices trying to sell you everything from debt relief to vacation scams. It's like digital whack-a-mole. Block one number and 5 more pop up. The FTC might be trying to crack down, but your phone still thinks every unknown number is either a scam or your aunt asking about that thing you posted on Facebook. 13. Here's something weirdly inconsistent. Open container laws. In some US cities, sipping a beer on the street is a crime. In others, totally chill. You can walk down Bourbon Street in New Orleans with a margarita the size of your head, but try that in Salt Lake City and you're likely to get a ticket. There's no federal rule, it's a patchwork of city and state laws. So if you're traveling and decide to crack a cold one in public, maybe check the local laws first. Or risk becoming the star of someone's TikTok arrest video. 14. Gas prices in the US can feel like a game show called How Much Will It Cost Today? One day it's $3.20, the next it's $4.75, and if you're in California, you might as well be fueling up with liquid gold. Ironically, the places with the worst public transportation often have the highest gas prices. So you're stuck choosing between paying too much to drive or taking a bus that shows up twice a day, if it feels like it. It's the American way. Freedom of mobility, just not the budget to enjoy it. 15. Calling customer service in the US is like entering a maze designed by someone who hates you. First, you'll chat with a robot named Sarah, who can't understand basic words like representative. Then comes the hold music, somewhere between elevator jazz and psychological warfare. After 30 minutes, you might reach a human who transfers you to another robot. By the time your issue is resolved, you've aged a decade, your coffee's cold, and you forgot why you called in the first place. Efficiency? Not exactly. But hey, they do appreciate your patience. 16. The American credit card is both a blessing and a financial booby trap. A lot of people use them just to get through the month, not to splurge on designer handbags. But with average interest rates north of 16%, that $40 grocery bill can morph into $70 faster than you can say minimum payment. It's the modern-day debt cycle. Swipe now, stress later. Credit cards might promise financial freedom, but for many, it feels more like freedom with a leash, and it's attached to your bank account. 17. In large parts of the US, especially in places that feel like you're living on the surface of the sun, looking at you, Texas and Arizona, air conditioning isn't a luxury, it's a survival tool. But the cost of keeping cool can roast your wallet. For lower-income households, it's a constant dilemma: comfort or bills. Some folks resort to turning it off entirely and sweating through 100-degree heat with a fan from 1983. Meanwhile, the energy companies keep raking it in like it's Black Friday every month. Cool air shouldn't be a class privilege, but here we are. 18. In America, weddings have somehow evolved from I do to I owe. With an average cost around $30,000, many couples are saying yes not only to each other, but to debt. Enter the wedding loan, because nothing says forever like paying off your vows for the next 7 years. From $10,000 flower arrangements to 100-a-plate dinners for people you barely know, it's a financial fever dream. And for what? One magical night and 800 photos you'll never print. Love may be priceless, but everything around it comes with interest. 19. Homelessness in the US isn't a fringe issue. It's a full-blown crisis. On any given night, over 500,000 Americans don't have a place to sleep. That's not just people on park benches. Families, veterans, even people with full-time jobs are living in shelters or their cars. As rents skyrocket and affordable housing disappears like blockbuster stores, more and more folks are pushed to the margins. Politicians offer thoughts and prayers, but rarely solutions. And in the richest country in the world, that's a problem too big to ignore. 20. Here's a statistic that says a lot with very few words. There are more McDonald's in the US than hospitals. That's right. Burgers and fries are more accessible than medical care. If that doesn't scream priorities, I don't know what does. It's a fast food nation where you can get a Big Mac on every corner, but need to drive an hour to get a checkup. Nothing wrong with loving fries, just maybe not more than functioning healthcare infrastructure. Welcome to America, where cholesterol gets attention faster than cancer. 21. Surveillance in the US isn't just for spy thrillers anymore, it's daily life. The average American is caught on camera roughly 238 times a week. That's more than 30 times a day, and not just when you're doing something shady like sneaking snacks into a movie theater. We're talking street cameras, store security, traffic lights, doorbells, ATMs, elevators, even that vending machine that's watching you choose between chips and cookies. It's like starring in your own reality show, without consent, plot, or commercial breaks. Welcome to America, land of the free and home of the constantly recorded. 22. Believe it or not, dyeing baby chicks is illegal in several US states. Yes, baby chicks. Apparently, some folks think it's cute to turn a puffball into a rainbow Easter surprise. But animal welfare laws disagree. Turns out, dyeing a live animal for aesthetics can stress them out or mask health issues. So, while some states treat it as harmless fun, others treat it like a low-stakes crime spree. The real mystery? Someone had to do this often enough that lawmakers said, "Okay, that's it. No more pink poultry." 23. Payday loans in the US are like financial quicksand. Easy to fall into, nearly impossible to climb out of. These loans promise fast cash when you're desperate, but they come with interest rates so high you'd think they were jokes. Spoiler, they're not. We're talking 300%, 400%, sometimes more. It's like borrowing $100 and owing your soul by Friday. Millions of Americans get trapped in this cycle, just trying to make ends meet. Payday lenders say they're providing a service. Critics say it's legalized loan sharking. Either way, someone's definitely getting paid. 24. Americans speak fluent acronym. It's like a whole other dialect. You don't go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, you go to the DMV, need time off, PTO, taxes, IRS, emergency. Call 911, school's holding an IEP meeting. Better bring your ID and your A game. From government agencies to your kid's report card, it's an alphabet soup that only makes sense if you've lived here long enough. And just when you think you've learned them all, boom, a new one. Welcome to the land where every 3 letters carry bureaucratic dread. 25. Think mailboxes are straightforward? Not in the US. The little red flag isn't just decoration, it's how you signal outgoing mail, assuming your carrier still checks it. And depending on where you live, your mailbox might be curbside, on your porch, or in one of those shared fortress-style boxes that require a secret code and possibly a quest to access. Oh, and don't even try to use the wrong-colored envelopes around holidays. Some folks get very picky. It's mail, but somehow still a mystery. 26. The US has more lawyers per capita than almost any other country. Seriously, if you throw a rock in a city, odds are you'll hit a lawyer, and then need another one for the lawsuit. From injury claims to contract disputes to pet custody battles, yes, really. Litigation is a way of life. Some call it justice. Others call it job security for anyone who owns a briefcase. Either way, it explains why every coffee cup comes with a "Caution Hot" label and why even playgrounds have disclaimers. 27. In 2023, the average American household was carrying about $96,000 in debt. That's not monopoly money. We're talking real debt from mortgages, car loans, student debt, credit cards, and more. It's like every family has a second invisible roommate named financial anxiety, who eats all the snacks and never pays rent. For many, debt isn't about lavish spending. It's just how they survive. A sick pet, a car repair, or a surprise medical bill can push a household into crisis. Forget luxury. It's debt by necessity. 28. If you're confused by American dates, you're not alone. The US insists on the month, day, year format, which makes perfect sense until it absolutely doesn't. Is 03/05/2025 March 5th or May 3rd? Depends who's reading it and whether they're British. One wrong digit and you're either missing a meeting or celebrating your birthday 2 months early. It's one of those quirks that makes international travel exciting, and planning anything slightly terrifying. Just another day in the land of inches, Fahrenheit, and mysterious formatting. 29. In the US, advertising is less of a side gig and more of a full-on invasion. It's on buses, bathrooms, doctors' offices, even inside your fortune cookies. Seriously, one had a coupon once. Americans are exposed to thousands of ads per day, and they're not subtle. Everything's louder, flashier, and somehow always limited time only. It's hard to tell whether you're being sold laundry detergent or emotionally manipulated into buying a jet ski. Either way, marketing isn't just part of life, it's the background music. 30. The US is in the grip of a growing opioid crisis. And it's not just headlines. It's affecting entire communities coast to coast. What started with overprescribed painkillers snowballed into a deadly epidemic, with fentanyl now making the problem even more lethal. From rural towns to urban centers, addiction has claimed lives, strained healthcare systems, and devastated families. It's a national emergency hiding in plain sight, one that can't be fixed with just slogans or speeches. When your local pharmacy becomes ground zero, you know it's more than just a health issue. It's a national tragedy in slow motion. 31. In the US, owning a tree doesn't always mean you're allowed to cut it down. In some states and cities, you need a permit just to remove a tree on your own property. Sound ridiculous? Maybe. But the reasoning often comes down to environmental conservation. Some trees are protected because they prevent erosion, cool neighborhoods, or are part of a fragile ecosystem. But imagine needing government approval to prune your own backyard. It's bureaucracy meets botany. Of course, break the rule and you could be hit with fines. So yes, apparently, trees have more rights in some zip codes than renters do. 32. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't just common in the US, it's practically the norm. About 63% of Americans wouldn't be able to cover a $500 emergency without borrowing money or slapping it on a credit card. That means one flat tire, surprise medical bill, or broken water heater could send a household into full financial panic mode. It's not about poor budgeting, it's about wages that haven't kept up with costs. In a country where the economy's supposedly booming, most people are just trying not to drown between paydays. Financial stability? That's starting to sound like a luxury item. 33. Retirement in the US is starting to look less like golden years and more like keep working until you drop. About 1 in 4 Americans have no retirement savings at all. Zero. Nada. And even among those who do save, many say it's nowhere near enough. With pensions vanishing and Social Security under constant political fire, the pressure's on individuals to somehow fund 20-30 years of life after they stop working. So what's the plan? For a lot of people, it's simple. There isn't one. Retirement is becoming less of a chapter and more of a question mark. 34. Climate change? Most Americans agree it's real and worth addressing, about 70% in fact. But how it's being tackled, that's a whole different story. Climate policies in the U.S. are a Frankenstein patchwork of state laws, city ordinances, and federal whiplash depending on who's in office. One state bans plastic bags, another hands them out like party favors. Some build wind farms, others invest in more oil pipelines. It's like trying to fight a house fire with 50 people all arguing over which hose to use. Spoiler: the fire isn't waiting for a consensus. 35. Americans love to talk about vacation, but don't actually take it. Over half of U.S. workers leave paid vacation days unused each year. Why? Guilt, fear of falling behind, or pressure from bosses. Meanwhile, Europeans are chilling on 6-week holidays and 2-hour lunches. In the U.S., people are burning out while their vacation time collects dust. It's the ultimate irony. Work hard so you can take a break, then feel guilty when you actually try. Welcome to the country where time off is often just code for checking work email from the beach. 36. Medical debt is a uniquely American tradition, one that no one asked for. It's so bad that it's one of the top reasons people file for bankruptcy in the U.S. Let that sink in. You could do everything right, have insurance, go to work, raise a family, and one ER visit still wipes out your savings. People take out loans for insulin, crowdfund their surgeries, and delay treatment just to avoid more bills. In the U.S., getting sick is risky business because healthcare comes with a receipt and sometimes a court date. 37. Driving in the U.S. is usually fine until you hit a 4-way stop. Then it becomes a chaotic ballet of hesitation, fake waves, and mild panic. The rules are simple. Whoever arrives first goes first. But real life? That's more like, who has the most assertive bumper? Add in distracted drivers, folks who treat stop signs as suggestions, and tourists just praying they make it out alive. And you've got a full-on psychological thriller at every intersection. It's polite warfare on wheels. 38. America's infrastructure is kind of like an aging celebrity. It once dazzled, but now it's cracked, sagging, and desperately needs a touch-up. Roads are riddled with potholes, bridges are on life support, and public transportation is often unreliable at best. The American Society of Civil Engineers regularly gives the nation's infrastructure a C or worse. The fix: massive investment. Problem: politicians love ribbon cuttings but hate paying the tab. So for now, enjoy your bumpy ride and delayed subway. It's all part of the experience. 39. Property taxes in the U.S. are basically real estate roulette. In New Jersey, you might pay over $8,000 a year. In Alabama, barely over $600, same house, wildly different bills. Why? Because property taxes fund local services, like schools, roads, and fire departments, and every state does it differently. It means someone in a modest home can pay more than someone in a mansion across state lines. Think of it as the American version of surprise fees, but dressed up in municipal paperwork. 40. Natural disasters in the U.S. don't mess around. Tornadoes in the Midwest, hurricanes on the coasts, wildfires in the West. It's like the weather took a drama class. You'd think homeowners in these high-risk zones would be required to have insurance. But nope. In some areas, it's optional. So when disaster strikes, some people are left with nothing. Except a GoFundMe and a very sad news interview. It's disaster roulette, except the stakes are your home, your savings, and maybe your sanity. 41. American coins are like a puzzle for anyone new to the country. Instead of listing their value in numbers, they say things like nickel, dime, or quarter, as if everyone just instinctively knows what that means. Spoiler: even some Americans forget which is which. A dime is smaller than a nickel but worth more. Why? No idea. It's like the coin system was designed as a prank for foreigners and, honestly, for anyone under 30 who mostly pays with their phone. Want to feel confused by loose change? Welcome to America's unofficial coinspiracy. 42. Trying to eat healthy in the US feels like a financial punishment. Want to buy chips and soda, cheap and easy? Want kale and quinoa? Prepare to sell a kidney. Organic, non-GMO, locally grown? That'll be triple the price of a microwave burrito. It's no wonder fast food is everywhere. When a burger is $2 and a salad is $12, guess what wins? It's like the whole system is designed to say, sure, eat clean, if you can afford it. Crunchy lifestyle, meet crunchy bank account. 43. US public bathroom stalls are the architectural equivalent of what privacy? With gaps under the door, big enough to play peekaboo and side slits wide enough to make eye contact, these stalls are more anxiety-inducing than comforting. Why the design? Some say it's for airflow, emergency access, or to discourage activities. Others say it's just lazy building. Whatever the reason, using one always feels like you're trying to do your business while auditioning for a reality show called Survivor Restroom Edition. 44. The US proudly holds a record no one wants. One of the highest incarceration rates in the world. With around 2.3 million people behind bars, America has turned prisons into big business, literally. For-profit prisons, harsh sentencing laws, and the war on drugs have created a system that's more about punishment than rehabilitation. And guess who's most affected? Poor and minority communities. If justice is blind, the American system sure seems to be squinting suspiciously in one direction. 45. Finding a parking spot in a major US city is less errand and more quest. You circle the block, check the meter, misread a sign, and end up with a $75 ticket, if you're lucky. In cities like Los Angeles or Boston, parking isn't just limited, it's a hostile sport. Parallel parking becomes a test of your patience, confidence, and ability to ignore honking. Some people would rather pay $30 for valet than risk losing their minds over a tight spot between two SUVs. Urban driving, come for the skyline, stay for the parking trauma. 46. Want to know how ridiculous property prices are in some US cities? People are paying $3,000 a month to live in what's basically a walk-in closet with a window. In New York or San Francisco, a cozy studio could mean 300 square feet of space, one hot plate, and a shared laundry machine in the basement. You're not paying for luxury. You're paying to exist near overpriced coffee and tech bros. It's not real estate, it's financial gymnastics. 47. The no shoes, no shirt, no service sign is more than a quirky slogan. It's a legally backed business policy in many places. Walk into a diner barefoot, and you'll be politely, or not so politely, escorted out. It's about hygiene, liability, and the general American fear of feet. What started in the 60s as a response to shirtless beachgoers refusing to wear shoes in stores has now become law in some towns. In short, dress like a human or eat your fries elsewhere. 48. Mental health care in the US? Let's just say it's more of a maze than a system. Nearly 1 in 5 American adults experience mental illness each year, but access to care? Sparse, expensive, and often overbooked. In many regions, therapists are hard to find, insurance coverage is spotty at best, and wait lists stretch into months. It's like calling 911 and being told, "We'll get to you next season." Awareness has grown, but support hasn't caught up. America's mental health crisis is real, and the system meant to help is barely hanging on. 49. In the US, price tags are basically lies of omission. That $9.99 burger? Add tax. That $29.99 shirt? Tax. Even online, the price you see is rarely the price you pay. In most other countries, taxes are baked into the sticker price. In the US, it's more like a surprise party your wallet wasn't invited to. And don't get us started on tipping, service fees, and hidden charges. Want to know the real total? Wait until checkout. It's capitalism with a side of mystery math.